I can do it. I can do it. I can do it is what I tell myself after 30 takes of the same intro that I'm trying to get out of my goddamn system. Hi, by the way, you're probably wondering what this video is all about. Well, today we're back for yet another monthly energetic forecast for, this time, the month of February of 2020. Yes, the infamous synchronized number 2020, the year of stability, of long-lasting change is what 2020 is all about. Welcome back. I hope you guys are having a lovely start to your month of February. I certainly am. By the way, this is actually a live stream series that we produce over at the Twitch channel. Twitch.tv/IcyVolk is where you would normally find us doing these episodes live. So if you want to see this content as it is going out there into the world, you can go over to the Twitch channel and subscribe there, as this live stream series is only available to subscribers over there. Now, this content is also uploaded for the public, the general public, over on the YouTube for later viewing. So if you don't care to subscribe and support further on the Twitch channel, you can just wait for these the content to be, uploaded over here. So do not falter. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, you can also check out the Patreon channel if you do want to support me further across everything that I do, whether it be on YouTube, Twitch, even SoundCloud. Yes, I've done audio blogs over there before. If you want to support me anywhere and you want to chip in $1 a month, you can go over to the Patreon at patreon.com/IcyVolk. And it's a really nice way to go above and beyond to ensure that more of this kind of content and other kinds of content can be developed and evolving with better production in the future. However, if you're just watching, thank you for still being here and being a part of this experience. And you're already supporting as it is, so I'm already grateful for that. So welcome aboard. I'm your host, IcyVolk, and today, like I said, we're going to be going over the month of February. February, man, it's actually a very weird vibe. I'm going to tell you in a good way. I'm not saying that weird is bad. Weird is great. Embracing the weirdness is what you should do, actually, and it's all about that for the month of February, as we are already kicking off 2020 with, some harsh Capricorn energy. There's a lot of Capricorn placements going on right now. So let's talk a little bit about 2020 in itself. Really quickly, 2020, in terms of numerology, it's a synchronized number. 2 and 2 added up together is 4. 4 is a number of stability. As some of you might know in numerology, 4 is a very structured number that's about, having the boundaries and long-lasting stability. And to have that in the number of the year 2020 is quite important because it's followed up with 2s. The 2s are followed up with 0, so it's sort of a reset. We're resetting an old phase of life and allowing a new chapter to step in. And this is what February is exactly about, as it is the second month of the year of 2020. 0-2, right? Again, with the 2 in there. And if you add up the 2 with the pair of 2s in 2020, it adds up to 6, which if you remember the symbolism of the number 6, that's about harmony and balance in life. So we're striving towards that, and we're really making space for harmony and balance starting this month. And we're doing it in a bit of an unconventional way, where it's happening. A lot of the balance and harmonious work is being done on the inside with our spirit, which is where it starts from. So if you're feeling harmonious and balanced on the inside, you will be manifesting harmony and balance in your surroundings, your relationships, your working environment, etc. So a lot of us aren't quite balanced and settled on the inside, though, and the theme for this month in particular is transcendence of your ego. And transcendence of the surface levels of the earth. It's about going above and beyond what you've experienced and felt. It's about getting in touch with your higher self and bridging your ego with universal love and the you that you've always wanted to be, but never got to that point until you've cleared up all the baggage and the blockages. So, and then 2020 is also, in terms of the Chinese lunar year, it is the year of the metal rat. So we've got the first sign of the Chinese zodiac wheel. So that implies that we are renewing ourselves, right? It's a new reset, a new chapter. We are feeling brand new and reborn. And the rat is a very inquisitive animal that's sort of strategic. It knows where to get around and how to follow the right path, but also doing so in the way that serves its soul the most. And so along with the rat, we have the element of metal. And metal in Chinese astrology is an element representing, a resolute kind of attitude. It's about the ultimate form of determination, being unshakable and unaffected by the trivialities and mild inconvenient occurrences of life. Metal does not metal is unyielding. Let's put it that way. It does not care anymore about what little shit there is. It's not going to affect the metal. Metal is solid, more solid than the earth, than soil or wood. And it's ready to just blaze through. And if the metal itself has some cuts and some little bits of pieces that pop off, it won't matter, because metal will retain most of its shape by the end of the journey and the transformations that it's going to go through along the year of 2020. And so that, along with the fact that the rat in the Chinese zodiac wheel is a masculine sign, it really denotes that we're moving forward. It's a forward moving year, and 2020, although it represents long-term stability, this year especially is about actually moving yourself forward in an upwards motion towards that long-lasting stability. So by the end of the year, we're really going to start feeling the first fruits of our labors, the labors that really matter to us the most and that connect to our inner spirit. And this energy is really reaffirmed with the many planetary placements that we have in Capricorn, one of the later signs of the zodiac wheel in Hellenic traditional astrology. So we have a lot of placements in Capricorn, and Capricorn itself is another forward-moving cardinal sign. However, it's a yin sign, so it's a feminine sign in contrast to the Chinese rat. So there's more focus on building forward for yourself and not for necessarily everyone else and your surroundings. It's about doing the work on the inside and having a bit of a solitary journey for your greater good so that you can become a better person by the end of the year and radiate with your greatness and affect that and help other people that might need a little bit of that inspiration of the achievements you've made for yourself, not only on the external level, but on the inside, right? Where you've actually rebuilt a more stable foundation in your inner spirit. And that is sort of the theme for the month of February. We're really doing the inner rebuilding and grounding work with a lot of cardinal energy. We have a lot of forward moving signs, especially later during the month. And we have, in total, we have 5 cardinal signs of the zodiac signs, along with 3 mutable signs in the whole energy of February. So there's very little fixed energy going on, the only being Uranus and Taurus, right? Taurus, one of the early fixed signs. And then you have Aquarius right now. So we're currently in Aquarius season until February 19th. So there's still a little bit of focus on principles around humanity and the globe, right? We're still keeping in touch with our social interactions, whether they be with acquaintances or open circles, clubs. There's still some free-flowing, open socializing going on. However, as we delve deeper into the month of February, we're really going to be retracting away from the world for a moment. We're taking week by week, we're sort of delving deeper into our psyche as we have a lot of Piscean energy happening. So we are essentially going to be transcending our ego, and we're going to have a bit more insight as to what we truly feel we want in our lives. And we are sort of resisting the self-restrictions we have imposed upon ourselves. We're really going to be following the current of authenticity, essentially, is what's going to be happening here. So for the month of February, the animal, the symbolic animal that I've chosen to really represent February is the seahorse. And the seahorse is an aquatic animal. It is a very gentle animal and creature, a very ominous and elusive one. So it sort of represents Pisces to me, along with some Capricorn flavor in there, right? Because it's a seahorse. Horses are an earthly animal, and when you really think about the seahorse, it's a very unique looking creature, and it's also unique in the fact that it has a switch in gender roles as well, as far as with the birthing process, right? So I don't know if you guys knew, but seahorses are one of the only animals where the male counterpart carries the offspring in its belly and actually gives birth to those offspring. So according to biology, the female seahorse does indeed reciprocate with the male, and they do have sexual intercourse. So there is a process going on there with the female. So she's still involved. However, she is not the carrier of the children in the reproductive process. So the male actually carries the weight for the lady and then gives birth for her. So it's a very interesting, it's a very unique dynamic there going on, and in a more one that we wouldn't normally imagine, right? We've always imagined, you know, the male being the active, dominant individual in the world, and then the female being sort of the traditional yin, being the nurturer and the carrier of the baby. And in this case, it's almost a complete reversal, and it allows for imagination of better dynamics in the world and for new psychic insights to come in. It really makes you think about how we could be better as a human soul, and how we could be more supportive, for example, of ladies in the world, right? And how we can compromise ourselves for other for ladies in general, right? So we are essentially heading into a new space as well, where we're allowing women to have more space for self-empowerment. And we are also learning how to compromise our brash, active energy. So we're really heading into more equality overall with 2020 and the years beyond, which is actually what Uranus in Taurus is encouraging us to do, is to change gender roles and to allow for more equality and equal opportunity to step in, whether you're male or female. It really shouldn't matter. But with Uranus and Taurus, we are changing the foundations of gender roles and marriage dynamics, right? Like, people are getting less and less married and inclined to want to marry, and people aren't as influenced to marry people or a family lineage, right? People are partaking more in love for themselves and really embracing their authenticity, right? And in doing that, we find better self-worth. So Uranus and Taurus is ushering us to change our value system in marriage, love relationships, creativity matters, money, business, finances. There's quite a lot of change going on the external, in the external realm, which is what Taurus actually focuses on, right? Aries being the ego, the identity, and then Taurus, the second side of the zodiac, talking about the physical and the sensual matters, right? Whether it be the fine fabrics of life or food and money and all of that is sensual on the physical level. And systems and structures and complex systems that have been in place for millennia, right? Taurus can represent marriage in that sense, and systems that we have imposed by tradition, which, you know, that also reminds you of the Hierophant card in the tarot deck, right? The Hierophant represents Taurus and also represents tradition, long-lasting faith and religion that is set firmly and for centuries ahead of life, right? But with Uranus stepping into the cycle of the sign of Taurus, we are really changing all of that and allowing for more dynamic and true systems to step in and to allow people to have more freedom, right? Because Taurus is all about control, so we are really opening that up and bringing down the walls and the restrictions imposed by society to really allow people to thrive on their own rights. So with that out of the way, February, going back to February, it's all about having the belief that we can transcend our ego and our insecurity of ourselves. It's about actually having the belief that we can be better than we've ever been. And we are making the first steps into transforming, into really emerging out of the deep to become a better being overall. So let's talk about, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's actually touch on the current planetary placements as well as the up and coming ones for the month of February, right? So we are currently in Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius. There's still, like I said, some detachment going on in social matters. So there's, you know, people not really taking it too personally, hopefully, when it comes to social and love matters. However, we're going to be heading into Pisces on February 19th. And so it's all about, you know, taking a step back and really meditating with yourself and having a bit of an introspective period of time, right? Because Aquarius is a yang energy. It's masculine, it's active, it's fixed. So it's wanting to get outside into the world and to really make new connections for their own spirit, their humane spirit. But then Pisces is about actually taking a step back from all the social activity and the involvement in humanity to really work on our ego so that we stay unaffected by everyone else's opinions, right? Because everyone can have an opinion. Every individual has an opinion on a certain point of view, or let's say a political matter, or an social, economical topic. But at the end of the day, we all have our own opinions and our own belief system, and that's Pisces for you. It's about really seeing everyone's opinions and really allowing them to also have them, right? Tolerance is a practice Piscean people know very well, and we should tolerate and not force ideas on other people, and to allow people to embrace their own faith, their own system of faith, and to really allow for free-flowing subconscious energy to come in, right? Because we're so focused on our ego and who we are and what our status is and how much material stuff we have in the world. Pisces, being the very last of the zodiac wheel, is beyond all the earthly and the surface level matters. It's like I said, the transcendence of your ego, and you're really going at the furthest point in your soul to bridge yourself with spirit. And not many people understand that concept, because it is a lot of people are not even there in their minds. They're not that progressive in their thinking. and they're so fixated on what they've lost, what their family is going to think of them if they don't follow their tradition. But let that shit go. That's what February is. If you don't let it go now, it's going to get worse. 2020 won't get better. And I keep seeing the same crap over and over on social media, where anytime there is a bad occurrence happening or some sort of a controversy, people keep saying, oh, 2020 isn't getting any better. It's the same as 2019 or 2017. No, you're the one focusing on that. Actually make a difference. If you want to change the world for positive change positively on the inside and stop fixating on what hasn't worked out, because you're not at the end of the day, a lot of the bad occurrences and the terrible events and the controversies that are happening out there that are circulated through media, like news outlets, those are not, a lot of these things that are happening, they are not your fault, right? If you care about positive change and if you want to see that manifest itself in the future, you have to be a contributor. And so Pisces energy allows for you to learn that and to bridge your ego, to detach from those situations with a little bit of that remnant of Aquarius energy remaining. You can detach yourself from that, and you know your truth, and you can move from there and know that everything will be well with your faith. And then by changing on the inside and having that unshakable faith of, I can make a difference and make the world a better place, then, the more people do that collectively as a human species, we can actually have better change step in along the way. Hopefully that made sense. But so we have Piscean energy later on in the week happening. However, early on, let's talk about, oh boy, a lot of people are not going to like this. I like it personally. I don't know why people make this sound bad, but starting tomorrow, Mercury is going to be stepping into Pisces. All right. And this, in astrology, is traditionally known as a detrimental placement. And not only is it a detrimental placement, it is actually the only planetary placement that also is combined with a fall. So a detriment, for anyone that doesn't know, is where a zodiac sign is feeling uncomfortable with a certain planet that is in its sector. So Pisces is in detriment when Mercury, is in detriment when it's in Pisces. So what that means is people are going to be a little bit uncomfortable when they're socializing or when they're getting their thoughts out there. It's not going to be an easy interaction. That is also coupled with a fall. So a fall is a challenge. It's essentially a very difficult process. So that is exacerbated with the energy of detriment. So overall, Mercury in Pisces is generally known as a very rough time for socializing overall, and it's not a very conducive energy. You're going to get a lot of miscommunications and disagreements overall. But is that a bad thing? Is it? Do you want to agree with everyone? Conflict is always going to happen. Whether you like it or not, it is an unavoidable process in everyone's life. And I hate conflict. As someone with a Cancer in Mars, I absolutely hate arguing. I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to argue. It's a very passive energy. Cancer and Mars is what I have, and I don't like it. I kind of ruminate when someone is not happy about me, or if there's some sort of a disagreement, and then I'll overanalyze it with my Gemini and Moon. So, but disagreements allow usually for your authenticity to remain, right? Just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean that you have to change what you believe in necessarily. If anything, it allows you to be more empowered, and you out there, viewer, you know your truth. You know, if the other person or the person you're reciprocating with isn't seeing your point of view, and if it's really impossible to get your point of view across without them making you feel guilty about it, then it's time to let that shit go, right? Because Mercury was in Aquarius for a little while now, and you know, we already got used to detaching ourselves, but now it's about cutting that cord. With Pisces and Mercury being a detrimental, very difficult placement as it is a fall, a planetary fall. Stop the communication. Communicate with yourself, with your higher self. Use that energy to retract yourself from social activity, especially after February 17th. All right, so because we're going to be having a retrograde with Mercury and Pisces later in the month, around the 3rd or the 4th. Yeah, on the third week of February is when we're going to have a retrograde of Mercury and Pisces. And this is where you absolutely want to use your throat chakra and your mental energy on yourself and on the betterment of yourself. February is not a month for getting along with other people, and it is quite ironic as we are headed for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, you know, being a holiday of harmony, union, you know, celebrating monogamous relationships and just platonic love overall, universal love as well. Ironically, this Valentine's Day is going to be completely different. And side note, Christmas also really felt underwhelming. I don't know about all of you, but December 2019 was very heavy, and the week of holidays especially was particularly unexciting for me. Christmas did not feel like Christmas. When I was going out into my neighborhood, there were barely any Christmas lights. And we also didn't have a whole lot of snow. And I live in Canada. We usually have snowstorms and puffy snow out there. And we only got that puffy snow on the very last day of the month on New Year's Eve. And I was awake for all night for a certain marathon stream that I was doing. So it really felt nice to have that white puffy snow on a mild winter night falling down after so long of not having any snow. And Christmas Day was just devoid of celebratory vibes. And it really didn't feel like Christmas. And so with that, we're following it up with a Valentine's Day that doesn't really feel like Valentine's Day. It's going to be, I mean, there might even be people breaking up on Valentine's Day. Let's just put it that way. I think it could be a time of the year where people are really stopping the relationships that are not serving their own higher good. And so with Pisces and Mercury going direct on as of tomorrow, and then going retrograde later in the month on the 17th, we're really going back to our psyche, and we're just putting a long pause. We're crystallizing. We're freezing the relationships that are blocking us on a spiritual level, and they might even break off later in early spring. Honestly, they might just dissolve completely, right? Passively dissolve, where no one talks to each other for a little while, and people have moved on and have kind of said their goodbyes in a telepathic way, which is Pisces and Mercury. It's a very elusive, dormant, psychic type of energy. And so if you have any vivid dreams later in February, write them down on paper. They will serve you as epiphanies. The 17th is a very interesting day because it falls on the 7, right? the 17th. And the number 7 in numerology is all about higher thinking, the occult, mysticism, the 7. We have 7 wonders in the world, 7 colors in the rainbow. Rainbows are synonymous of Pisces. It's about, you know, it's a mutable Pisces is mutable energy. It sees everything in a prism of colors. And water actually helps produce rainbows in the sky. So I'm just making all these connections right now, but the point is, if you have really particularly vivid dreams, write them down on paper. See if you can get a story building from your subconscious. And maybe from there, you can find a spark that allows you to understand what you've been doing wrong on an ego level, so that you can bridge your ego with spirit and the higher version of yourself. So get those dreams on paper, man. They're going to be really interesting to look at later on when we're going to be ending the month of February. Now, this one, so this planetary aspect, this next one is going to be kind of important as well, as it is a very contrasting energy. So we have a full moon happening this year. The full moon is going to be happening in the zodiac sign of Leo. And for anyone that didn't know, Leo actually happens to be the neighbor of Cancer, the native of the moon sign. So we had a lunar eclipse on the month of January. And now we've got a full moon in Leo on the 9th. So in some parts of the world, we have the full moon in Leo on February 8th. But for the most part, the full moon will be occurring on the 9th. And the 9 in tarot represents the Hermit, the card of the Hermit. And 9 in numerology, in symbolic numerology, the 9 represents, you know, the near end of a cycle. It's where you've shed away all of your ego. You've thrown away the parts of yourself that you didn't like partaking in, whether it be insecurity or self-hatred. All of that we're eliminating. And when we're going to be in the full moon in Leo, we're really going to be using our vulnerability. We're going to start using our vulnerability in public interactions. And we're going to be using our true selves in how we show up in the world. And so the full moon in Leo is a very paradoxical energy, but it's also highly illuminating, where it allows you to embrace your authentic self and to be unafraid about really being unabashed about how you feel, what you're thinking about, and to allow that to radiate in the world and to make the world a better place by inspiring other people to not be afraid to be vulnerable. We got to bring down those walls. It's time. It's time for our spirit to envelop our physical self and to allow us to transform physically on a better level with that, you know, dynamic going on. Now, later in the month, with the moon, we have a new moon in Pisces. Again, Piscean energy is really taking a step here, because we're going to have the sun in Pisces later in the month. But then a little bit later, a couple days later, we have the new moon in Pisces. So we're really going to be feeling free and fearless in our adventure, in our own personal journeys. It's about the experience. And the whole experience involves really indulging in your 5 senses and really feeling them on a spiritual level. And so this new moon is happening on the 23rd. 2 plus 3 is a 5. And 5 symbolically is all about freedom, experience, a sense of adventure, and really doing things for yourself. Honestly, it's a bit of a selfish energy, but it's also very freeing. And so we're really getting out and committing to that new path. The new moon usually represents what we want to initiate, whereas the full moon is a climax. So on the full moon of Leo, we are really releasing all of the ego and the parts of the really old version of ourselves. It's really like a sounding horn. That's what I'm seeing is the roaring of a Leo, of a lion that goes, the world is my oyster and no one is gonna bring me down. And so with the new moon in Pisces, we are starting to feel truly free and to just commit fully to our ambitious and powerful, authentic self. And there was a lot of forward movement with that to think about, because we had, so the last lunar eclipse and the solar eclipses were in Capricorn and Cancer, and eclipses were important points of the moon that happened around December 26th. And then the lunar eclipse in Cancer happened on January 10th of 2020. So the universe is pinging us to go forward. We're being pushed, and we don't have a choice to change for the better. We're being forced by circumstances and events in our lives. The more frustrations we have, the more we're actually being led to our spiritual self, the person behind the body, right? Because we can pretend all we want and for as long as we want, but eventually we're exhausted and we're just bashing ourselves against a wall to the point where we want to break that wall. And the wall is the restriction we've actually self-imposed. So it's time to break away from that and to go forward into the expanse of true fulfillment, which is very, very Pisces. Typical Pisces energy is really delving into the wonder and the imagination of how great the future could be. So now that we've gotten the moon stuff out of the way, we can talk about Venus now. So Venus is actually going to be stepping in early into a new sign on the 7th. So on the 7th, we have Venus in Aries. It is currently in Pisces for a couple more days, for 5 more days. So there's still time to indulge in some really good music that makes you want to swim in a different realm. It's about really, like, Venus with Pisces is just an exalted energy. It's about treating yourself to your 6 or 5 senses to the point where it's taking you mentally and emotionally on a different path where you can have a bit of a break, really. And Aphrodite, Venus, was actually born of the sea in Greek mythology. So it's, you know, water therapy is particularly good at this first week of February. So indulge yourself in a hot bath. I don't know, put your feet in a hot bath, whatever. Just work with water and have it be a soothing experience before we head into Venus in Aries. So when Venus is going to be stepping in Aries, which is going to be on the 7th, we're going to be focusing on ourselves and our sense of self-love and self-worth even more than ever. Like I said, Valentine's Day is going to feel really different. It's not going to be like any other Valentine's Day you've experienced before. It's really going to be about you and yourself. And Venus in Aries is a bit of a selfish energy. It's a detrimental energy for unions and harmonious relationships. So, but this is actually where you can use it to benefit yourself. So Venus in Aries is a contrasting energy, and Aries is a cardinal sign. So you're going forward for yourself and only for yourself. And so February is transcendence of your own ego, right? Forget about the whole world for a moment. Isolate yourself, but in a way that really makes you want to go on an adventure. Stop spending time and energy in people that don't reciprocate in the ways that you expect. Stop that. and stop having expectations in the first place. And so February is about spending time for yourself, by yourself, and to regain that sense of faith that you will be okay with Venus and Aries, right? That sense of self-love, that acceptance of, I am good enough. My identity is just as fine, and I can choose the identity that fits me the most. And with that, I have a stable inner grounding in my soul that allows me to walk forward in life with the belief that my circumstances will get better if I stand in my power, my self-empowering love, Venus in Aries. And it falling on the 7th, 7, again, it really forces you to go for that higher sense of thinking in a way that you haven't thought of yourself before. So February will be a very refreshing month on an individual level. It is not the time to be wastefully using your energy and throat chakra away towards other people. And if other people are envious of you suddenly, or if they want to stir up some shit, no, close that clam, close your oyster, all right? With the Piscean energy, go deep within yourself. Find your little sanctuary, listen to your favorite music, write down your own dreams and goals and what you imagine yourself every day, and indulge in that. And don't allow anyone to tell you that what you want to strive for is not good enough. Because they are vicariously maybe living through you, and that's not healthy, and you shouldn't worry about that. Let them fix their own problems. Fix yourself. Stand in your power, and move forward from there. Nothing can stop you with the year of the metal rat, with all this cardinal energy, with the mutable sparkles of Pisces. Dream on. Dream on, as Aerosmith would sing out. Dream on, right? The war, you didn't experience pain in your life for nothing, too. It actually made you better. It built in you, in your spirit, a better spiritual being. Pain and sorrow walks hand in hand in joy, whether you like it or not. Conflict is going to happen, but your time and energy can be used in a very effective way passively. I forgot to point this out, but there's a lot of yin energy going on, a lot of feminine energy. So don't force yourself to get everything done. This is not the time to get along with new interactions, to get all of your plans made. No, 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 no. In fact, you need to take a step back. February is a month of stepping back and really feeling into the current of your heart's calling, which is actually the theme of this broadcast. This whole video is themed, follow the current of your soul. Follow what really soothes you, what replenishes you on a watery, elusive level. Do not force an emotion. Sit there, vacillate in the waters. Allow yourself to sway left and right without even controlling it. Surrender. Surrender yourself to a whirlpool of beauty and wonder and pleasure. Do not even think of having a list of plans. You can write an intention. You can write a visualization down on paper, but do not, now is not the time to force yourself to have a certain kind of future, to have a specific future, because whatever you're envisioning in the future on a practical level is probably not meant for you. You are a spirit, and when you die, all of your personal belongings are gone. All of the physical matters, your body included, is gone. Your spirit is the one thing that actually is left, and we don't know what is beyond death, to be quite frank. So I think having great memories and good memories of pleasurable days of wonder and imagination are far more satisfying than always pushing ourselves to satisfy other people. So cut the cord on certain relationships. Think for yourself. Think beyond yourself. And open up your soul to the possibilities and the wonder of life, of what could be if you just indulged in your dreams. So, let's talk about Mars now. Mars is currently in Sagittarius. It's kind of a benefic energy. It can be a little bit frustrating if you don't have any sort of dynamic physical activity going on. But Mars is going to be moving into Capricorn on the 3rd week, I believe. Yeah, on the 16th of February, Capricorn is going to be moving into Mars. It's an exalted spot. So this is where you actually want to use your physical energy, right? Your root chakra. Get a physical routine going on. So Capricorn falls into Mars on the 16th. So it's about bringing balance through physical activity, through relaxing activities. And that will actually strengthen your identity in a certain sense. So, but you should do it in a way that is passive. So don't exhaust yourself. Capricorn is a very long-lasting energy, an earth energy that does not just stop. It doesn't burn its energy out in a flame and then snuff its flame out. No. Mars in Capricorn is an energy that is long-lasting and that knows to use its energy sparingly, but almost at a daily rate. So this is where you want to have a routine for a physical workout. Or if you want to do meditation 5 days a week, do it. Commit to that. Because you will benefit from it, right? Because we're going to be... So there's a lot of Pisces energy going to be that's going to be happening. A lot of inner work. However, because of this overabundance of inner work that we're going to be working on, there's a certain point where you can actually lose yourself from the reality of your world, and by spending so much time imagining and wondering and dreaming and meditating with the spiritual, you can get confused, and that might actually lead you to lose yourself in a practical way where you don't even know what's going on anymore. So you want to ground yourself again from that spiritual thinking with a sort of a routine that can clear your mind and center yourself back to the ground. So if you want to do a little bit of jogging every day, do that. Have a walk outside. Take a daily walk for 15 minutes so that your body can breathe and feel the breath of the air of the earth. Feel that winter cold, you know, feel the nerves kind of waking up, being woken up from that. You need some sort of physical stimulation, but don't overdo it, right? Don't do CrossFitting or do 3 hours of intensive workout and then burn your muscles and bones out for the next 3 days and then fall back into a depressant. Don't do that. Have a regular physical routine. With Mars and Capricorn, you need a practical routine. It can even be cleaning around the house for all I care. Like, get just a simple routine going so that you can center yourself back from all of this meditation and insightful introspective work of the transcendence of the ego, because you're going to need that. You're going to need to do that so you can use that spirituality into the real world. Otherwise, you're going to lose yourself completely in that imaginative world and never want to come back. So you have to bridge your your identity with that higher self. With that Mars in Capricorn, it's about bringing that back down, but also doing it in a way that is relaxing, right? So keep that in mind. Now, some of the other planets that are currently in certain signs that are slower transits are Jupiter and Saturn, both currently in Capricorn. So Jupiter is actually in its fallen Capricorn, whereas Saturn is in its native spot with Capricorn and Saturn. So again, a lot of Capricorn energy happening. We have several planets in Capricorn, including Pluto. So there's a lot of focus on going upwards in a passive way, but also doing it regularly. And it's about rebuilding the foundations and to work with our current it's about working with our current circumstances, right? Because Jupiter in Capricorn is a limiting spot. Jupiter falls in Capricorn. Jupiter is about growth, whereas Capricorn is about duty, responsibility. So there is a contradiction going on there, right? Jupiter in Capricorn is teaching us that in order to have long-lasting, expansive growth in the future, we need to be content and to grow from our current boundaries, if that makes sense. So you have to be a little bit careful with the Piscean energy right now, because you could be, with Mercury retrograde in Pisces, there could be a situation where you spend just too much time in your own inner world, to the point where you're building up that frustration of not manifesting that imagination in your practical world. So, like I said, Mars in Capricorn is going to be a beneficial, active energy to incorporate with all this Piscean elusive spiritual field going on. You need it. You need it to balance your soul. It's going to be your anchor, essentially. So going back to the animal of the seahorse, like I said, is a very unique animal because it also looks like a being that doesn't necessarily belong to the sea, because it looks like a horse, and the tail is actually the anchor of the creature. So the creature never moves too fast. It's a very gentle creature, the seahorse. It moves at its own pace, but it also follows the flow of life, the current of the waters, the oceans. But the anchor on its tail allows for the seahorse to not be swayed or pulled too far into the current as to get swirling down into the unescapable depths of paranoia and psychosis. So in that anchor, that symbology, we have that Capricorn energy that allows us to stay anchored in the practical matters. So Jupiter in Capricorn is going to serve tremendously if you understand its meaning, which I've just described. It's cardinal forward energy, but in a passive way where you are working forward within your limitations. Now, Saturn in Capricorn is a placement that is very important because it basically signifies that everything is happening according to plan. Your destiny right now and your fate, it's all happening as it exactly should. And so the point here with Saturn and Capricorn is to accept what is happening right now. Do not force a different trajectory. And in that, you are embracing the Piscean energy as well as going with the flow. Follow the current of your heart's calling. Do not try to change your circumstances on a practical level. Incorporate new activities, rather, with Mars and Capricorn, but you're not going to be able to do much beyond that except for changing and rebuilding on an inner level. So Saturn in Capricorn actually forces you to do the great work. It's a very wise planet. The All-Father Saturn is the lecturer, the one who tells you that no, you can't have all this shiny stuff that's growing over there with Jupiter. No, you can't go there yet before you have actually learned your karmic lesson. And I'm going to put you in this corner, and you're going to stand there and understand what you have done wrong for yourself your whole life. And until you've done that, you're going to do it. And then when you come to that epiphany, you can come back to me and tell me that lesson. And then you can have your growth. So Saturn in Capricorn is a very, very enlightening energy. Not everyone's going to understand it, but if you understand the meaning of it, you can rest assured that you're going to have that freedom later in life. And so Jupiter in Capricorn is going to step away on December 19th of 2020. And from there, it'll be in Aquarius. The same thing will be happening, though, with Saturn in Capricorn, where Saturn is going to step away from Capricorn and go into Aquarius as well on December 17th, just 2 days before the Jupiter in Aquarius transit. So there is a lot of lessons that are still to be learned. And February is where we start releasing ourselves, unshackling ourselves from our self-limiting restrictive ways. And Capricorn in tarot is representative of the devil card. And the devil is all about self-imposed limitations and self-sabotaging ways. Where is it that we're holding ourselves back that we could easily step out of, right? Like in the image of the devil card, you have the masculine and the feminine bound to chains, but they're not actually tightly bound. The grip on their ankles with the chains is very loose. So they could just get out of there if they really just understood what they were doing there. So that's Jupiter and Saturn and Capricorn there. We're learning, we're taking this year to unshackle ourselves and to move forward with a more empowered self. And the Neptune is so Neptune in the Pisces sign, which is a native spot, is really going to help us imagine and to step into the possibilities of if we just allowed us to indulge in the right things. So Neptune in Pisces is still there until the year of 2026. Uranus in Taurus, a very important transit in this whole planetary aspect. Uranus in Taurus is a very, very, perhaps the most difficult placement for Uranus. Uranus in Taurus is about changing the way we look at the physical, how we bind ourselves to what really doesn't help us. All right? So be open to doing the unconventional. So if you've never ever used your subconscious, if you're always rational and super logical and analytical, and you're not used to dreaming and wondering and feeling that imagination on an emotional level like Pisces people do, try it. And you will be surprised how easy it is to move towards a better future. The path of least resistance is often the easiest. And so the power of surrendering is huge. We are surrendering what no longer serves us and doing it in a passive way with all this feminine yin energy. Do it subconsciously. Don't even try to surrender. Just do it. I know it's really ridiculous for me to say just do it, right? It's easier said than done. But it is easy because you don't have to have any extra resources to do it. You don't need the support of other people like family members and friends to do it. You just need support from yourself. It's easy because you only need your soul and your sense of self-worth to do it. And so with Pluto and Capricorn, we're going really deep into our karma. Pluto in Capricorn is going to stay there so it'll be in retrograde on April 26th, which is actually my birthday, believe it or not. So Pluto in Capricorn right now is helping us go deeper in our karma and understand that the practical achievements don't really matter. The sense of achievement comes from within, is what the lesson of Pluto and Capricorn is. It's a benefic spot actually for us. So lots of Capricorn energy. The limitations in your current life are not what you should be focusing on. You should accept them and find content in what you already have and what you can imagine for yourself. Find contentment in the pleasures that are correlated to the vision of the future that you're envisioning for yourself. Because right now, there's a lot of focus on healing the ego. With the North Node in Cancer, and the Chiron, the asteroid Chiron in Aries, we are focusing on rebuilding our identity and letting go and shedding away of past habits that we are unconsciously giving in and not really realizing what we're doing and limiting ourselves in that way. So stop it. Just surrender to that. Say your final goodbyes to the old you, because the full moon in Leo is actually called a snow moon, according to Native American moonology. If you look up different Native American names for the different full moons, you'll find that the February full moon is actually called the snow moon. And if you think about symbolism behind the snow moon, you are essentially resetting your emotional imprint. It's completely white. Snow is bright white, snow white. It's a new canvas, and the emotions are representatives of the different colors in the paint that you can use on that canvas. So reset how you felt. Forgive yourself for acting and feeling negatively in certain ways. You know, understand that what you've done, move past it, let it go, and use a new canvas where you can paint a more vibrant story and use the different colors that make you feel good on that canvas to create a storyline in that painting, in that picture. So allow yourself for better experiences, emotional experiences. Understand that what you've done is actually a lesson for you. With with Saturn and Capricorn, like I said, it's about the learning, the karmic lesson of understanding that whatever happened that you regret, it happened for a reason, and you were destined to go through that phase of your life so that you could emerge a much better person that you probably wouldn't have been if you hadn't experienced all of that pain and limitation. Some people are born wealthy. They're born in well-off families where everything is balanced and all right, but they don't really grow much from there. Because balance, when there's too much balance and harmony, it doesn't allow for the spark of the fiery soul to be unique in a certain way. When everything is perfect and balanced, there is no the status quo is the status quo. The soul doesn't really grow from there. So in a certain way, pain and sorrow is good for you. Not to say that, you know, certain things aren't terrible and are justified. No. The point of the matter is, use your circumstances and your shitty situations and dynamics with your family and friends and whatnot to build upon your character. So accept that and move forward from there, and you have the power to do it. So Chiron in Aries teaches you to be empowered in yourself. I am the way that I am because of this and this that happened, but I'm not going to allow that to be the end of my story. I'm going to paint a new chapter of my life that will be looking completely different, and it'll be a contrast to the resistance that I felt for so long. So we're rebuilding a strong inner foundation, emotional, spiritual foundation on the inside, where the North Node in Cancer is our solution, is to do it in a nurturing way where we don't have to do much out there in the external world. We just have to go on the inside and indulge and nurture ourselves and see where we feel most fulfilled from what we already have, rather than exhaustively chasing what we don't have and what we shouldn't have. And the problem is the South Node, Capricorn in the South Node, where we try to define ourselves with our circumstances, but the problem is also the karma that we're carrying with us. So that is not allowing us to move forward. And the outcome, ironically, is Capricorn in the South Node, where we actually achieve in the real world based on our own story, rather than the story that we fabricated in our minds based on our insecurity and our ego. So here are some lines that I've written down that sort of describe February overall, right? Detach yourself from the collective. All right, with the Pisces energy going on, especially later on as we have the sun in Pisces, remove yourself from exhausting social interactions. If you want to ghost people for a little while, go ahead. Do not bear any guilt along that journey. And connect to the inner, the spiritual side of you. Seek growth and developments from your subconscious and inner callings, whether it be from dreams or just daydreaming, right? As you're sitting and having a cup of tea or coffee. If you're walking outside enjoying yourself and you have a ping in your head that tells you, hey, I want to create that, or I want to do this for myself suddenly. I have a yearning for that. Follow that. Act upon that with the Mars in Capricorn. Don't wait. Reconfigure your path. You know, understand that you had a troublesome path with a lot of bumps and crossroads, but now you can reconfigure that. It's time to follow the current of your heart's calling and do so in a way that is balanced. Don't swirl too deep into the world of wonder and imagination, but indulge yourself. Allow yourself to dream. Stop being so responsible and dutiful. Enjoy. Have some fun for yourself, because 2020 is a year of rebuilding your inner self. Your spirit needs to have a stable footing so that you can move forward with true expansive external growth. But before that, you have to reconstruct and deconstruct what isn't working and what is working for you. So keep and preserve that energy for yourself. With Mercury in Pisces, don't put it out. You're already confused as it is. Things are already muddled. Move forward on your own and clear the clutter from the inside, and do it in calm ways that don't require you to push yourself. Do it naturally, passively. So do not force your forward direction. Rather, let go of control and flow with the current of fulfillment. See where, like, when you want to do something and you really enjoy it, follow that. And then follow the next thing and the next thing along with it. And then along with that, those activities of pleasure, find something that requires you to remain responsible, but in a way that is serving you. So like having that workout or a daily walk. Spend some time and energy into your own legacy. Have the willingness to be productive and the willingness to just enjoy life. So go inwards, spend more time with yourself. Forget about Valentine's Day, all right? Valentine's Day this time is about loving yourself. And you know what? If there are people that want to be part of that, part of your nurturing experience, allow them. allow those few close true friends in. And, you know, even true friends might not be able to be around, and that's fine. Just let go of that. They'll come back later at some point, but now is not the time for lots of socialization. So work on your own wisdom. It's a lot of solitary energy going on right now. Lots of masterful energy. So we have lots of signs that are actually in the last sector of the zodiac wheel. So Capricorn, Pisces. Yeah, Capricorn, Pisces are the most notable here, along with some Aquarius that we're moving away from, and the Mars and Sagittarius. But lots of Capricorn and Pisces for the most part. So a lot of masterful, mature energy. Be mature about the solitary journey, all right? If you're getting irritated and triggered by certain people, put them on hold. Ignore them. You'll get back to them. They'll understand. So this introspective period of time is going to be good for your ego and your trauma. And so resist. If you resist the flow of your heart's calling, then you can be assured that the rest of the month is going to be depleting you on all levels, mind, body, and soul. If you block your openness to the current, everything is still going to be happening as it should be with the Saturn and Capricorn. So if you blame this on the universe or me for whatever shit you're still in, that's because you didn't actually learn the lesson. You still have to do it. And Saturn is going to be in Capricorn for a little while, so you still have work to do before the Saturn and Aquarius period. So, you know, if shit's not progressing the way that you expect it to, that's because you still haven't learned the lesson. You haven't let go and surrendered your ego and who you think you should be, instead of allowing what your natural self wants. So accept your current circumstances and allow your spirit to just transcend your limitations, right? You are physically bound to the limitations, but that doesn't mean that you are spiritually bound to them. You are not your environment. Your objects are not necessarily representative of who you are as a person. Although you might have your favorite little items or your favorite teddy bear and whatnot, whatever we have on a material level, it's all going to be lost at the end of our journey. So have a good experience rather than a good set of shiny, glamorous surroundings that don't really matter, honestly. So indulge yourself in wonder, and if you have dreams going on later on, especially, take notice of them. See what your mind thinks about. And if the dreams are actually getting more and more pleasant, then you're actually on the right trajectory. And so that's why journaling your dreams can be very important, because you can see a progression going on if you actually write that down. And so the more you surrender, the more pleasant experiences you're going to have in your subconscious, because your subconscious has been so repressed and closed off because of your ego and your conscious sense of self-limitation. If you're dissolving that, you're going to allow for more restful nights, and you're not going to wake up in the middle of the night with nightmares and night sweats and whatnot. It's letting go of expectations and your self-limitations, and just daydreaming is going to in turn help with your dream phase and your night cycles. So the spirit works in conjunction with the body, right? A stressed body is mostly stressed because of its psychological tornado, right? Of insecurity and ego. And if you don't have a stable footing on the inside, you're more likely to develop certain kinds of psychological, what are they called? Not diseases, but you're going to develop anxiety, depression, and that in turn is going to make you want to stay awake at night. And then you're going to have, back problems, nervous twists, muscle spasms, etc., right? You don't want that. So if you take care of your soul, your body will also passively be taken care of when it sleeps. So keep that in mind, right? You can try to, take on a really aggressive diet or a really aggressive workout, but that also might actually hurt you. If you don't do what's natural to you and not just what's healthy, then you're still going to be stressed out about it, and that is going to counteract whatever healthy practice you've started for yourself. So the fear, oh my God, FOMO is the last thing you want to feel. And I can admit that I have sometimes bouts of FOMO. I sometimes feel like I'm not doing enough, or I'm not learning enough, or I'm not doing everything that I could be in a given day. But FOMO is a big problem in the sense of limitation we have in our lives, right? You want to let go of being achievable, of being achieved or perfect, like you've got everything together. Let that go. Follow the current. The swirl of waters is a little bit chaotic, but it's also fun. A little bit of chaos is actually exciting if you think about it. And a completely structured journey is a little bit boring. And it's taken me a little while to realize that, as I'm already 26. But February is about writing a new story on an internal level and radiating into the outer world with it. With the full moon in Leo, we are using our inner upgraded, evolved self to radiate into the world, into our new social dynamics that we're going to be stepping into March. And March is really going to be when the ice melts and we come out growing as little plant buds and basking in the sunlight of positivity and optimism. And now February February can be it can be a huge relief of tightness if you just allow it to happen and you trust in that process. Because the Pisces season is about I believe, having the faith that everything will be all right, and to use your imagination with it, and to not have a specific idea in mind, but to allow your mind to wander in the different possibilities, because Pisces is mutable and it sees the whole world as a prism. And so Neptune is the planet that comes into mind. It's massive, it's dark blue, and it allows for all the depths and the lights and the layers of the waters and the creatures to intermingle and to transmute as a whole fun and unpredictable experience. So allow for that to happen. And then also have, some good habits in there too. As you're moving through February, have some regular habits that can make you feel like you're alive, that you're still in the part of the real world with the Mars and Capricorn. So those are all the ideas to keep into account moving into February. Now that we've got that all out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the sacral chakra. So this is something that I wanted to bring up earlier, and I actually found myself writing the text for this in orange. And orange is actually the color of the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra also happens to be associated to the zodiac signs of Pisces and Sagittarius, if I'm correct. So both of them are mutable. Pisces is actually traditionally ruled by Jupiter as well, which is about growth, but it is now as well associated to Neptune. But the sacral chakra is also a feminine chakra. It's one that is associated with passion and creativity and growth, letting It's about allowing yourself to go for what you want rather than what you need to go for. So you create what you generate on an energetic level on the inside. So indulge in your senses. In your senses. I can't talk. Indulge in your senses. Let go of expectations and limitations and self-imposed ideas of perfection. Have yourself some primal sensations with touch, feel, the food, and surrender yourself to creative impulse. So if you have an idea, if you have a ping going on, a creative ping while you're dreaming or daydreaming or going outside, act on it. If you suddenly have a really good idea, get it out into the world and don't worry about perfecting it, because you're going to be perfecting it as you practice creative impulse more and more and more. We didn't grow perfect, right? We weren't born, we weren't born perfect. We got there from a journey. So allow for that. Allow for the space of creative chaos, and then, you know, refining it from there. Because creativity, it comes from us, and if we manifest it into the outer world, we can grow, which is why Jupiter comes into account with Pisces and Sagittarius. It's about seeing the whole prism and the whole plane of our realm and the whole realm of possibility. So wear some orange and maybe take a hot bath, maybe take some cold showers, drink a lot of water too. Get hydrated. February is a very cold month. It can dry your skin, so you want to hydrate. All right, and treat yourself. You know, turn on some aromas like sandalwood. I don't know, just make your environment a sanctuary, literally a spiritual sanctuary for your senses, so that your creative flows can come out into the external world as you recenter yourself. All right, so now that we've talked about the sacral chakra, which I honestly believe is the chakra to be focusing on, which I also need to focus on personally, let's pull out some tarot cards. So I've got by my side some cards. I've got a tarot card by, what is it called? John Matthews and Mark Ryan, who are the authors of the Wildwood Tarot deck. So we're going to be pulling out we're going to pull one tarot card of advice for the month of February. This is for myself as well, because I am very involved in creativity. I've always enjoyed art and creating ideas into paper and into audio form, which you're listening to right now. It's a video audio project, right? And I've been thinking about it yesterday. So I actually was compiling all this information yesterday, and I didn't even work publicly. I spent the whole day just writing this info down, all this information that I had in mind that I wanted to put out there for you guys. And I organized it nicely and all to my own benefit, the way that I've wanted it. And I probably missed a few points. And you know what? I completely accept it. Unfortunately, I'm not perfect. Unfortunately? Well, fortunately, imperfection is also perfection in itself. So maybe that's the advice that we need to heed to. But let's pull out one tarot card of overall energy. And then we're going to get one advice card and one part of the body, one chakra as well to focus on, other than the sacral chakra that I pointed out. Maybe the sacral chakra will come out again. I don't know. We'll see that in a little bit. We have two cards coming out, actually, for the overall energy. We have two cards, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to discard one. So we have the Two of Wands, very empowering energy. The Two of Bows is decision. It's making the decision of embracing your inner power, because the bows are the wands in traditional tarot. So the two of wands are about bridging your ego with the, you know, the higher self. Two being in numerology a number of duality. So you are deciding on moving closer to the stars, like in this image. The man is on a mountain. He is flaming up top, ready to seize the world. The world is his oyster and no one can stop him. He almost looks like a god in here, actually. Kind of reminds me of Zeus here, but very empowering energy. And, you know, it's crossing a new gate as well. It almost looks like he's about to walk forward into a new phase of life. And paired with that, we have a 3. So notice how we have a 2 here, the 2 of wands, followed up by a 3, a major arcana card, the Empress, the green woman. Feminine energy, the ultimate yin, which is the whole theme of February, is creating your cauldron of wonder with your receive the energy that you're getting, the pings of energy that you're getting, and create your potion of valuable goods from there. This is the overall, and I'm not making this shit up, y'all. This is what we got. So now that we've gotten that out of it, there is a progression here too, right? So we go from a 2 to a 3. So we're getting our ambition, our fires, our ambition, and our inner power comes from sitting with ourselves and allowing for the sensual, pleasurable, enjoyable things to inspire us and to feel empowered in what we love, what we naturally love, which is the green woman in itself, the ultimate Venus. And 2 of bows is a fiery energy, right? So this is essentially Venus and Aries energy going on here. So, I don't know why I'm shuffling this. I don't know why I was shuffling the same deck. However, let's go ahead and pull out a card of advice. What is it that we need to focus on doing more? What is it that we should keep into account for the month of February? Angel of Mysteries, Raziel. So, I'm holding the, for the record, for anyone that doesn't know, this is the Angelarium, the Oracle of Emanations. Beautiful art, beautiful imagery, symbolism, and the symbolism is one that you can create for your own. I have personally associated a lot of these cards to the traditional major arcana. So to me, this is Raziel, by the way, Angel of Mysteries. He's holding a book. And to me, this is the Magician. In my mind, this is the Magician card, but the Angel of Mysteries is what we should look up to. We are protected by mystery. We are protected with a future that we don't know yet, but that we should trust in. And so this card is basically telling us that we don't have to worry about the next few weeks. Let February go by and indulge in your senses, because when you worry about the future, you are essentially blocking your empowered self. By creating an expectation of the future, you are not allowing yourself to focus on what you want to create, but you're limiting yourself by what you think is going to happen. So trust in the Angel of Mystery, Raziel. He will write the future as it happens. He is not writing the future for you. In fact, the pages are blank in his book. He's waiting for you he was waiting for you to tell him what the adventure is like. He's going to be writing that for you. But until you act, he's not going to write it. So your adventure might be empty and devoid of excitement if you don't make it happen for yourself. That is the point, is trust in the future and refocus on yourself and in the present moment. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time forcing a future. And now that we've pulled that, let's pull one part of the body that we need to focus on. What spiritual and physical part of the body, the human body, do we need to focus on? So I'm going to pull out one more Oracle of Emanations card here, but these are different. These are not angels. These are the gateways of our body that are activating our spiritual self. So they're also associated, I've associated some of them to the chakras as well. So I talked about the sacral chakra earlier just now, and maybe there's another part of the body to focus on along with that. But it could also be the sacral chakra as well. So we've got the right eye here. So this is Chakma, the right eye. It's titled Wisdom. Wisdom is the key energy here. Wisdom is associated with Jupiter and Pisces and Sagittarius. So the right side of the human body is also associated to the feminine, and it's about doing it in a passive way and understanding that all will happen in time and that you are good enough. You are being encouraged to use your higher sense of thinking to guide you and to sort of use a little bit of your intuition in that process. And intuition is a process that involves you trusting the creative impulses that you're getting in your daily activities or the activities that are pleasurable. So get those pings of creative impulses while you're, nurturing the parts of you, the thoughts you want to cultivate. Do it in a way that serves your highest good. So that is what you need to focus on. So maybe look at some beautiful pictures on the internet. Look at some quotes. Look at beautiful things and soak that in. So if you're going to be on YouTube, use your right eye to look at nature videos. Look at animals out there. Look at stuff that inspires you. That inspires you in an empowered way and that doesn't put you down, right? And look at things that make you feel wiser and more stable on the inside. So that is what I would recommend all of you do. Overall, the month of February is sort of a reset. Write a new story. Don't dwell in the past. Because Saturn in Capricorn is always teaching us that time never stops. We can ponder and be spiritually stuck in the past, but the time is always moving forward. It's never going backwards. We can't rewrite the past. We can only move forward and work with what we've got. So don't worry, all will be well, and allow in the process of flow. So don't block yourself. Don't block yourself from the sense of flow. Do it in a passive way and just imagine. Imagine all the people. Something holding hands. I don't know, the right people holding hands with you. Yeah, and don't worry about not getting along this month with Mercury and Pisces and the Venus and Aries selfish energy, and spend some time with you. And Valentine's Day is not going to be the same. Holidays might be coming back every year, but they're always different. There's always a different experience coming along with every time we come back to the same holiday, right? Just because you're having a Valentine's Day this month doesn't mean it'll be the same as last year. So keep that into mind. And you know what? Maybe if you don't care about holidays anymore, it's whatever. Then don't care about the holidays. Do what you would want to really do for yourself. Don't follow social norms or traditions just because they're out there, right? Stop reading Facebook and Twitter. Disconnect from that social area and spend your time in creative spaces. Look at some photography, some nice photo pics on Pinterest for all I care. Look at some nice furniture. I don't know. Enjoy, indulge, feel, touch, eat some nice food. And you know what? And then move from there. And then be ambitious. And combine what you love into what you want to build for the world. What the world really needs right now with Uranus and Taurus, right? Bring in the quality of life rather than the quantity and doing everything and doing it for everyone for your ego. No, do it for what you would want to see and what you love doing, as long as it doesn't harm the world, all right? Because Piscean energy is the most empathic and the most illuminated and the most understanding, perhaps, one of the most, when it's not at its low vibrational side. It is tolerant of other people's dislikes and likes, right? We should not impose what we like on other people, but celebrate our differences and, you know, allow and keep moving from our inner power. So I'm going to stop rambling. Otherwise, this is going to go on for too long. But the point of the matter is, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the present moment and indulge and imagine all of the greatness that could be. And keep moving. Keep moving forward with the cardinal energy. All right? Don't stop. The adventure is still happening. And it's going to be more exciting than ever before. If you just believe in that. And I'm going to leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Icy Volk with the monthly energetic February forecast. You want to see the series live as it is happening, you can go over to the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/IcyVolk. We'll probably do our next one early in March. So look forward to that. I'll let you know if I do it. But I'm usually live publicly for everyone. I do play a lot of video games and whatnot. And then we also do daily tarot readings on the channel for the public. So if you want one yourself with a 1-card reading or a 3-card reading with more elaborate detailings and insights, then yeah, definitely stop by over to the Twitch channel. But you can also support on Patreon. As mentioned before, you can go to patreon.com/IcyVolk if you want to chip in $1 and support all of the work. Or just, you know, if you really care about whatever I do, then and you value it, then I am eternally grateful for that extra amount of support. But otherwise, thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing if you have already. And I'll see you next time for one of these kinds of videos. All right. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, and join us on the Discord server too at discord.gg/IcyVolk and twitter.com/IcyVolk. Have yourselves a wonderful, pleasurable, and creative, self-focused month of February. Until next time, goodbye.